Professor Dr. Avinash Kumar Agrawal obtained his undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering from Malviya Regional Engineering College, Jaipur, and his MTech at and PhD from IIT Delhi. After his postdoctorate philosophy in at ERC EW Medicine USA, he returned to India in 2001 and joined IIT Kanpur. He has developed laser-fired hydrogen and CNG engines in automotive sizes and developed the first electronic fuel injection system equipped with a locomotive engine for Indian Railways. For his outstanding contribution, Professor Agrawal is conferred upon Sir J.C. Bose National Fellowship 2019 by SERB and SAE India Foundation Guru Award in 2022. Sir also conferred with prestigious Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Prize 2016 in Engineering Science and many other. Professor Agrawal is highly cited researcher and is among the top 10 HCR from India among 4,000 HCR researcher globally in 22 fields of inquiry. He is India's #1 energy researcher in the recently declared Stanford University listing of the top 2% of the researcher globally. Now, I cordially invite Professor Dr. Avinash Kumar Agrawal to deliver a keynote.
Basant, this is already 1 o'clock, so how much time do you want me to go? 40 minutes plus question. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Am I audible in the back? Am I audible? I am really grateful to Dr. Chauhan, founder director of MET, and Dr. Basant Sikarwar for inviting me to be the plenary speaker for this FLUTE conference. And I am told that the deliberations in last 2 days have been excellent. And I wish all the success for the rest of the conference. Today, I'll be talking about future of internal combustion engines and existential threat from battery electric vehicles. And then I'll talk about alternate fuels, methanol, etc., and try to give you some picture in Indian context. In this audience, I see a lot of young people. How many of you are excited about electric vehicle? Please raise your hands. You think that's the future, right? And how many of you are excited about alternate fuels and IC engines? Okay, so it's a balanced house. Let's critically examine what is the ground situation, and then I will ask the same question at the end of the talk, possibly, and then see how many of you change their mind. So today, there are three major concerns that the world faces. One is that there is huge depletion of natural resources. Why the resources are depleting? Because we are doing overconsumption. We take out the petroleum products more than what we need, convert them into plastics, convert them into fuels, use them more than what we need. Each one of us has 20 pairs of shirts. We need only 5 or 6, right? So we are indulging in overconsumption, and this is leading to depletion of resources that we have. And then what is happening is that we are taking this petroleum and carbon from below the surface of Earth, burning it, and where we're putting this carbon dioxide? In the atmosphere. So this is actually accelerating the global warming, and that is actually having a problem such as, what we see climate phenomena, extreme floods, extreme weather situations. So it's all man-made. Such kind of extreme weather phenomena is all man-made. And in cities, mega cities in the world, all these vehicles, the combined pollution, because we are using a lot of old technology vehicles also, they create a lot of urban pollution. So city air quality in cities is, urban air quality in cities is not that good, which need to be addressed. Now, all the time, whenever there is a debate about global warming, US says that India has to reduce the CO2 emissions. But to be fair, you guys are going to go, I would like to have the attention of everyone in the room, especially in the back. Guys and girls, if you are not interested, that's the gate. Only those who are interested should stay in this room. Please, others can work out. Otherwise, if you don't want to listen, that's okay. So if you look at the oil consumption, how much is being consumed by whom, this chart is very, very important. And you should see, you should not be apologetic about using petroleum fuels in India. USA, with 1/4 of our population, is consuming 26% of the global oil. We in India, with 4 times size per cap, 4 times population, we are consuming roughly about 2.6% of the global oil. What does it mean? It really means that average Indian consumes 40 times less than an average American, right? And as a citizen of the planet Earth, we have the same right on our resources. So if somebody asks you that you have to reduce your consumption, we should tell them that rather than preaching us, it's better that you reduce because you are consuming 40 times more than us. I'll give you just one simple number. Can you tell me how many cars we have in India per 1,000 people? How many cars we have? Anybody has any idea? Students, we have, don't Google it, it's about 37 cars per 1,000 people. How much it is in America? 950 plus, right? So when it comes to GHG emissions, we should call spade a spade and we should say, look who is talking. Our people also need to have good quality of life. So don't be apologetic about increasing the quality of life. All these sermons that are given by us, you look at these countries, Japan, how much is the population compared to India? 7%, 3 times higher. Germany, very small country compared to us. Russia, all these countries have very small population. They consume 20, 30, 40 times higher petroleum. So obviously when our people, our economy develops, we get educated, our middle class get empowered, we will be consuming more energy, we will be buying more cars. Government cannot say that, okay, keep driving bullock carts. So this is very important curve which you should keep in mind. Never be apologetic about what the country is doing. Global population definitely is going to increase with time, and when the population increases and with the level of economy development, the energy demand also increases. Now, please look at this curve carefully. This curve is also extremely important. It tells you a story. Please feel free to interrupt if you have any question. Please ask. Don't worry. I don't wait till the end to ask questions. So this curve is extremely important. On the x-axis, you have gross domestic product, GDP per capita. That means per person average how much country earns per person. And on the y-axis, you have energy. Now, if you look at this, most of the countries are plotted and they are on a 45-degree line. So what it tells you is that your energy consumption is directly proportional to your per capita income. If you are poor, you consume less energy. If you are rich, you consume more energy. But if you look at the America is at the top and on that side, on the other side of the quadrant. What does it mean? That they not only consume their fair share, they actually waste a lot of share. They are on that side. They, compared to their income level, they are consuming more energy. Now, if you look at here, India, you can't even notice India is here, right at the origin, right? So now when our economy increases, how will we grow? Will we take this 45-degree line or we have to do something else? So that the challenge comes on us, engineers and scientists, to make sure that we don't follow this 45-degree line. Because if we follow, the country is doomed. We'll keep importing all the time. We have to follow a flatter trajectory. So this is one big challenge, and that is why we have to focus on developing our own resources, own energy resources which are produced domestically, not imported. We can't afford to import. We can't afford to go on this 45-degree line. Now, if you look at the action, where in the world the action is happening, this is also very interesting curve. This tells you in 21st century how the motorization will happen. So look at the y-axis. That's the number of cars in the world. Look at the x-axis, it's a 50-year horizon between 2000 to 2050. 50 years horizon. Now, if you look at America, this is America at the bottom, this is Europe. Is there any growth? No, there is hardly any growth because they already have 950, almost one car per person, or some, people own 3-4 cars also. Where the action is happening? So action is happening mainly in these three regions. What are those three regions? One is China, one is Asia, and the other one is India. That is why in all the discussions, China and India are told to be the engines of the growth for the world. We are the saviors of the economy because this is where the growth will take place. This is what will prevent the world from slowdown. And this is where the number of vehicles will increase. India has very strong middle class. India has very young population. Like you guys, when you go into jobs, you will buy a car. And then our numbers per thousand people will go up. Question is, buying car is easy. But then buying car, government has to keep providing the fuel. You can't say that I have sold the car, but the government will not provide the fuel. So logistics of providing fuel rest with the government or the private companies, and that's where the import of the fuel will increase. Now, all of you must have heard about this famous Dieselgate scandal, right? How many of you have heard about Dieselgate scandal? So only a few. So I'll tell you, Volkswagen company, they cheated on emissions. They cheated on how the emissions are calculated, put some air, and they lowered the value. And because of that, it was said that, they have cheated, and that's why many other companies may be cheating. And that's why once the cheating was proven, they have to pay billions of dollars to get bailed out from that situation. There were a lot of lawsuits in different parts of the world. And then people write obituaries of IC engines. The IC engines are dead, they pollute the environment. So this was the dark phase for engines. And in fact, Helen Clarkson, CEO of Climate Group, they say that the end of internal combustion engines is in sight. This was about 10 years ago. So IC engines, when the bad phase started, IC engines were tagged as the prime culprit for increase in CO2 consumption in the world. They were said to be dirtiest machines after the Dieselgate scandal. Then some people, The Economist is a big newspaper, he said that IC engine had a good run, but the end is in sight for the machine that changed the world. Of course, it changed the world. Before the IC engines were invented, how the world was moving from one city to other? How it was moving? In horse carts, right? Or bullock carts. So now we don't need them. We can travel faster, and this has served the world for 150 years now. So many people in the world believe that IC engine technology has met the saturation level, highest level of development has been achieved, and therefore there is no scope for research and development. And I can tell you, being in research for IC engine for last 25 years, this statement cannot be more wrong. There is so much we can do, so much more we can do. We can make them absolutely clean and more efficient. And that's why I appeal to the students in this room to join the IC engine research community to find out different solutions, because this is a machine which will go on for at least next 100 years. And this will keep on serving the world. So let us examine this question. Is it the dead end for IC engines, or there's something else? So we have to look at some myths and reality. Now you say that, IC engines are polluting and they emit a lot of carbon dioxide. Now let's look at where the carbon dioxide is coming from. Basan, let them go. It's okay. Only interested people. Actually, it is difficult for students to stay if they are not interested. Okay, those who are interested can come to the front seats and then I can continue. Good to have fewer number of interested people listening to you than non-interested people. Okay, can I start? So now if you look at the CO2 emissions, it is said that, IC engines are the culprit. But if you look at this is a horizon of 20 years between 99 to 2010. And this tells you the CO2 on the y-axis. Now you look at which contribution is highest here. 50% almost is coming from energy, thermal power plants. Then there is agriculture. Then there is land use for different sources, forestry. Transport is this blue line. So the transport of all kind, transport is not just road transport. Transport is ship transport. Transport is road transport. Transport is air transport. All that put together contributes to about 16% of the carbon dioxide. And then you have, cement industry and waste and all those sources. So the point to be noted is that less than 16% of the global CO2 emission is contributed by transport, which also includes marine as well as air transport. And therefore, saying that if we kill IC engines, we will be cleaning the environment, this is completely wrong. And moreover, even the solutions that are being offered, battery electric vehicle, even the battery electric vehicle runs on electricity, 85% of which is produced by burning coal. So there also you are putting a lot of carbon dioxide. There is actually no saving. I'll show you later in my talk. So Toyota goes electric in 2020 and they announced massive electrification. But then soon they realized that Toyota realized that this is not the way. And immediately their CEO came up and made this statement that electrification doesn't mean death for IC engines. Okay, so because they realized it's not going to happen. Europe, there was people were in a hurry to ban IC engine sales from 2030 onwards. Everybody said, okay, we want to show how much we care for the environment. 2030, let's ban IC engines. Now they have to swallow their own words. They have to push it to 2040, and when it comes closer, they will actually all these bans will be gone, because you can't choose the technology just like this. You can't force people to buy what you want. So I'll skip some of these slides. I have actually too many of them, but the last point here is important, that 90%, 95% of the transport energy comes from petroleum. 60% of the petroleum goes into transport fuels. So that means transport fuels are extremely linked. The other thing is that, every day we consume 4.9 billion liters of gasoline and diesel and 1.2 billion liters of jet fuel, which is equivalent to 105 terawatts of energy each day. If you want to replace it with energy, you need 105 terawatt, which is roughly 4 times the total energy, 4 or 5 times the total thermal energy which India produces. Now you can imagine electrification, just for running the transport, you will need 5 times the energy production of this whole country in the whole world. So it's not that easy. I'll skip some of these slides. Let's look at some of these interesting things. Electric vehicle challenges, electric vehicles and challenges to IC engines and petrochemical industry. Now you have to understand, when we say battery electric vehicle, is the battery running the vehicle? No, it is the electricity that is stored. Battery is only a storage medium. And where is that electricity produced from? Mostly it is produced all over the world, from coal, from uranium. For example, France does a lot of nuclear fusion. Somewhere, some people use even CNG to produce. So this term you must have heard, zero emission vehicle. Have you heard? Is it possible to have a zero emission vehicle? It's impossible, because any activity you do, you want to make this watch. Even you have to mine the material for this. Then you have to bring it to the factory. You have to process the metal. Then you have to machine it. Then you have to bring it. Anything we do in making that equipment, CO2 is put into the environment. So zero emission vehicle is a misnomer. There is nothing called zero emission vehicle. It's just that if it is not coming from tailpipe, people who are uneducated, illiterate, they say it is a zero emission vehicle. The emission is just moved from tailpipe to the Badarpur thermal power station. That's the only thing. And then you see the disposal of the batteries. We all use these AA, AAA cells, right? Maybe tens of pairs are used by everybody every year. Have you thought about where does it go? It's a toxic, hazardous waste. Nothing gets recovered. It's a toxic waste. Okay, so the good thing about the batteries that are used in automotive is that approximately 90% of the batteries are recycled. 10% still cannot be. So now my friends who promote battery electric vehicles in the market, they make a very big show out of it. They say it's good for the environment. Why it is good? Because it's carbon neutral, it is zero pollution. It doesn't produce any noise because it's very quiet. It causes hazards of accident. That's another thing. They say that efficiency is 59 to 62%. Once you take the power from the grid to power in the wheels, that's 59 to 62%. On the other hand, IC engine poor cousins, they have very bad efficiency of the order of 28 to 35%. The charging cost of is very less. Pollution benefits are there. You have smooth operation, very strong acceleration. It requires low maintenance because only 20 parts in EV. IC engine has 2000 parts. No filter change, no oil change. So these are all good points of EV. So we have to examine all of them very critically. So let's examine one of them. Zero emission vehicle. I told you, is this a zero emission vehicle? Now, whether this is 10% more or 10% less, that we can analyze, but it is not zero emission. Less noise pollution is risk for country, because if you are passing and the car doesn't make any noise, nobody gives away, and the guy might have be in accident. If the engine is making noise, the guy knows that okay, something is coming from behind. So in fact, the EVs add speakers to give a noise to the vehicle so that the safety aspect is taken care. Energy efficiency, what they are doing, they are saying grid to wheels, whereas what they should do, coal to grid, grid to wheel. Once you do that, this is 15% number, because in India, what is the efficiency of thermal power plants? Maximum 25%, 30%. Multiply 0.25 with 60, it's about 15%. And then those who are mechanical engineers, they will know the concept of low grade energy and high grade energy. Electricity is high grade energy, coal is low grade, petroleum is low grade energy. There it is 28 to 35%. And when you have to show something in bad light, you show poor numbers. Now their new technology engines are giving efficiency as high as 48%. So it's just a narrative. Lesser cost of charging. Those who buy, they will know, they will tell you that they pay 25 rupees, 20 rupees per unit. Home charging is 9 rupees. Performance benefits, smooth acceleration. Now, if you have to go from here to Kanpur, can you go on an EV? It's not possible. There is no charging possibility. I don't even bother about it in my IC engine car. I can go to Kanyakumari, no problem. And 5 minutes I fill 50 liters and go. That's not possible with this. Less maintenance. Tell me, those of you who own car, if you do yearly maintenance and you change your oil and filter, do you ever have to go to a mechanic if you do it regularly? So IC engine cars have evolved over 140 years. You don't have to go to mechanic if you maintain properly yearly. You do the service once, keep air pressure correct, and change your oil filter. So this is also a myth. So there is a lot of narrative in the market about showing the IC engines in bad light and EV in positive light. Couple of cartoons. One, you feel so dirty because your tailpipe, there's smoke coming out. And then clean, you feel so clean because now the emission is coming from the power plant, right? And I would also like to tell you that Euro 6 vehicles, those of you who have Euro 6 vehicles and who are operating in Delhi, trust me, your car is not polluting. It is actually cleaning the environment. And I tell you how. The reason is that in the ambient there is a lot of particulate. What is coming out of the tailpipe is actually less than the background. Of course, you can't expect it to produce oxygen. So you are putting hydrocarbon, so it will produce carbon dioxide only, but no carbon monoxide, no hydrocarbon. Euro 6, the numbers are very tight. So, this narrative needs to change. This is not based on facts. Right now, people are saying that, okay, we are dependent on imported petroleum. I agree. We are dependent on Saudi Arabia, we are dependent on Russia now, America. So many people are there on whom we are dependent. 90% of the people, 90% of our petroleum is imported. I agree. But you go to battery electric vehicle, who controls the battery materials? Only one country, Dragon. Only one country. So you would like to have your neck crushed by Dragon or by 10 people? You can choose which one to go for. So from a national energy security point of view, this is just going to be a disaster. The entire world's lithium resources have been procured by China. Many of the people I have seen in US, those who own the battery electric vehicle, they always keep a generator in the car dicky. Suppose they run out of juice. If you are doing that, is there any advantage of whatever you are saying? Okay, and then there are, of course, a lot of other problems, and electric vehicle also has the voltage issues. Now, let us look at from the technical point of view. From the technical point of view, let's look at the energy efficiency. So there is something called Ragon diagram. What this Ragon diagram does is, it compares the gravimetric energy density with volumetric energy density. Okay. So gravimetric energy density in megajoule per kilogram is on the x-axis and megajoule per liter is on the y-axis. Now, if you look at those, all the biofuels, gasoline, diesel are there, up there in the top. Approximately 40, 50 megajoule per liter, 50 megajoule per kilogram. And your best lithium ion battery, where is it? At the origin. That's about 0.5 megajoule per kilogram. What it really means is that for storing 1 kilogram gasoline equivalent power, you will need a battery weight of approximately 100 kilogram. And that battery also needs to be carried on board the vehicle. So this is one big problem. This shows that, if you have 1 liter of gasoline, you will need 26 lithium ion batteries to store 30.24 megajoule of energy, which will have a volume of 75 liters and a weight of 26 kilograms plus. So this is one big issue, and this table compares the same. So current automotive battery is having an energy density of 0.5 to 1.5 megajoule per kilogram, and this is not going to increase dramatically in future. It's not possible. So having the same energy density as gasoline or diesel is next to impossible for battery friends. There is a lot of bad press, but now people are also beginning to realize some of the after effects. So this is one report from China, and Chinese newspaper says, that why electric cars are more polluting than gas guzzlers. Gas guzzlers means IC engine vehicles. Gas means gasoline, petrol, at least in China. So people are now realizing, in the UK, they were really among the front runners to ban IC engines. Their questions are being asked. This is a cutting from Guardian newspaper. It says, is there enough electricity? National grid reacts to the fossil fuel vehicle ban. People are now realizing. Then this is one from Mail 1. This is the Chinese mines in Congo. And you can see mining being done by 13 years old. This is happening today also. There, the average life of these miners is about approximately 19 years. 40,000 people, children, they die because they mine in very primitive ways, the lithium. 40,000 people. And why they die? So that you can have mobile phones, you can run your clean electric cars at the, this is a human tragedy, is what we are creating. This is one article which says, are electric cars the new diesel scandal waiting to happen? Please read all these articles. Okay. Are electric cars the new diesel scandal waiting to happen? They generate polluting particles just like petrol vehicles and are not even cost effective, as one expert find. It will not save the planet. I have done the analysis for foreign brand vehicles and Indian brand vehicles, hybrid IC engine and battery equivalent vehicles. And my analysis is, it's there on IC on the Indian Research Lab website. Please feel free to download the report. My analysis found that the battery electric vehicle put 15 to 50% more carbon dioxide compared to IC engine. Their per kilometer cost of operation is also 30 to 40% more for personal transport. It makes sense if you are running a taxi operation, then it makes sense. It will be more cost effective. But if you are having a personalized vehicle, it doesn't make sense at all. So please feel free to read those articles. It also tells you, these are some of the older numbers. It tells you that IC engine and battery electric vehicle, there is not much difference in terms of emissions. In fact, if it comes to toxicity, this light sky is the toxicity from battery. That side is the IC engine. You can see on all these parameters, EVs are more toxic to the environment and to the human health. Okay, I'll skip some of those parts. You know, these are some of the comparisons of Tesla Model S with BMW 7 Series and Mitsubishi. And again, you know, you can look at the last line, which shows the vehicle emissions. You can see that one emits about 226 grams. A large, very big car of BMW size, very luxury car, about 385 grams per kilometer. A compact car, IC engine based, creates about 192. So those who says that Tesla is zero emission, it is not zero emission. You can look at the numbers. You are producing emissions during the production of vehicle, during the use, during recycling. At every stage you produce the emissions. They have to be taken into environment. Now, electric cars, you know, the challenge that we have in these different countries are put. And, you know, if you look at, if you put some vehicle, how much pollution they will create, how much CO2, grams of CO2 they will put per kilometer. You look where India is, 370 at the highest. Paraguay it makes sense, Iceland it makes sense. Can you tell me, can somebody tell me why it is so bad for India, same car? Because this shows you how your electricity is being produced. In India, 80%, 85% electricity is still being produced from coal. The moment we make it green, these numbers will change. So first we have to change our grid, make the grid greener. Is the government making effort? Yes, we are making huge effort. We are putting solar power and wind power left, right and center. Today, installed capacity of solar and wind is more than 40% for India. Is the installed capacity enough? We should ask this question. You have put solar plant. It doesn't matter how much plant you have put. What matters is how much electricity is coming to your home. It does not produce electricity during night time. So that 40% installed capacity that we have done, it puts only 7 to 8% electricity into the grid, which means 92% is still from nuclear, hydro and thermal, right? So greening of the grid, in my opinion, is very challenging. It's close to being myth actually. We can keep investing in this sinkhole and keep feeling good about it because we have installed a lot of solar, a lot of wind, but we have to look at the benefits, how much we are getting at a national level. Well, these are some of the pictures. You can see the child mining the and 500,000 pounds of material needs to be mined. 2.5 lakh kilo mining आपको करना पड़ता है for one battery electric car. One battery to produce one battery of the electric car. So greening of the grid by solar and wind energy installation is really a myth. Indian Energy IEA, they say about 8%, but the International Energy Agency, it says that it's about close to 2% in India, the green part. Okay, I'll skip some of these slides. Of course, there are some environmental issues such as, the wind blades, they damage a lot of birds and all. There are some historical reasons. I'll come to something more interesting. Of course, there are challenges. There are many engineering challenges of battery electric vehicle. First is the limited range. So Indian cars, generally Indian EVs are small batteries and they have limited range. The more batteries you put in, range will increase, but the cost will also increase. They have long charging times, they have high initial cost. The battery life is not guaranteed. You buy a new phone, how much the charge holds for a whole day. When the phone becomes 1 year old, does it hold the same one day? It discharges in half day. Same battery, same technology also goes in the EVs. So the technology maturity level is not very high. After 5 years, you have to change the battery. How much is the cost of the battery? It is half of the cost of the vehicle, right? So you may save some money during those first 5 years, but then once the battery changes, you will be in total loss. Okay, consumer acceptance is a big problem. Government gave all kinds of incentive, but people are not buying that much. Grid integration is a big problem. And every day we see these problems of fires. Battery thermal management is a big challenge. It continues to be a big challenge. And this is something that needs to be resolved. That curve shows you how much battery material you will have to recycle. So exponentially, as the electrification of the transport increases, the waste from the batteries will also be increased, and it's a toxic waste. At least in our country, we don't have safe methods to handle the battery electric waste. Again, this is one exercise that we did at IIT Kanpur. We looked at how much this 30% transport by 2030, how much it is in terms of money value. So I just did some calculations for the numbers, took the same price of the battery electric vehicle as same as IC engine and did some numbers. In 10 years, we have created a new business opportunity of roughly about 50 lakh crore rupees. 5 lakh crore rupees every year will be the new business opportunity that we have created for businessmen in electric vehicle business with zero environmental benefit, zero benefit to the customers. It's a big scam. 5 lakh crores. My dear friends, please, if you don't understand this number, the total budget of Ministry of Education in this country, which include IITs, NITs, primary education, secondary education, tertiary education, total education budget of this country is 66,000 crores. 10 times that budget we are investing in something that does not make any technical sense. 10 times, 500,000 every year for 10 years continuously. As a nation, we have to set our priorities straight. So, what is the future? Well, Rudolf Diesel, 1890, he invented diesel engine. So it was looking a little bit better. People were not able to travel 30 kilometers because the vehicle will break down and so on. Then 1905 Ford came, so it becomes a little better. 1930s new models, exponential growth in this thing, so it became very sweet. 1970 very fantastic cars started coming. We introduced a lot of new technology, PFI and CRDI systems, so it became very sweet. Come 2020 Dieselgate, it has become very sour, very bad. Everybody is cursing. People are writing the obituaries. Is that the future or is there something else? Well, wait. IC engine is not dead yet. It's evolution. IC engine 2.0. Whatever challenges have been thrown, I think all of us will overcome, and whatever criticism we have seen, we will actually overcome all those challenges. New fuels have to come in. Let me tell you, when I did this analysis, I was surprised that if you take a Tata Nexon IC engine, if you take a Tata Nexon battery electric vehicle, the weight difference is approximately 200 kilograms. What that weight difference does is, it will produce, it will wear your tires much faster. So the tire will generate a lot of nanoparticles. Those nanoparticles are actually very small, and they are 10 times what your engine emits. 10 times. So if somebody says that the battery electric vehicle does not emit the particles, he cannot be more wrong. They emit 10 times more particles from tire wear. It's just that it is not coming from tailpipe. But again, those are also toxic particles. New technologies are coming in, and I am quite sure that in next 10 years, by 25, 2030, 50% mileage of the vehicles will increase. There is new technology called gasoline direct injection. It has come, and it will give you immense benefits for gasoline vehicles. So a lot of new work is being done. New combustion ideas such as low temperature combustion is being worked. IIT Kanpur is also working on those areas. We are working on PCCI technology also. And this is just a picture to show IC engines, and these small pockets show you different areas where the improvement can be done. And my dear friends, I can tell you that on each of these brackets, you can choose them as your PhD topic, and 10 PhDs can be done, still the problem will not be completely solved. So on this slide, you have 1000 PhD topics on this slide, those who are looking to do PhD. So there are plethora of opportunities to resolve. We are also developing gasoline compression ignition at IIT Kanpur. What is gasoline compression ignition? So what we are doing is we are actually taking very cheap fuel, naphtha, which is very cheap, much cheaper than diesel and petrol. Its octane number is only 70. So it cannot be used in petrol engine. We are using that in a diesel engine, and we are burning that with a great efficiency. Petrol engine efficiency is normally 30%. We have already achieved 48 to 49% in IIT Kanpur. World record is about 54. Hopefully within a year or two, we will beat the world record and we will cross 54 in 1 or 2 years' time. So there are a lot of benefits, emission benefits and so on. And this GCI technology actually is very cost effective. Engine is almost similar as a conventional engine, no extravagant technology in it, not much of electronics, and exhaust gas after treatment are not required. So the cars which will be based on this technology will be cheaper, fuel will be cheaper, and that's how we will beat the threat of EVs. The other thing that I would like to say is this is very interesting curve. This shows how the demand in India will increase, the vehicles. So, in 10 years' time, suppose to 2020 when it was introduced, we had about 4 million cars, and it was said that 30% will be electric. So in 10 years, the total number of vehicles will be 10 million. 4 will go to 10. Out of that, you take 30 for EV, still IC engine will be 7 million. So IC engine will grow from 4 to 7, which is a 70% growth. Now, issue is that these EV promoters, what they are saying is that we will do 30%, but let's kill IC engine. No, Baba, what will you do with the remaining? You need IC engines. IC engine also needs to grow hand in hand. Otherwise, you have to again bring back the horse carts and bullock carts to transport from here to wherever. We need gigafactories. So 4 gigafactories will be required for battery production, which will require a lot of investment, $20 billion just for this. And the other challenge is going to be that 2023-24, whatever supply of the precious metals we have, lithium, cobalt, nickel, these are the 3 critical metals. The global supply will be less. Global demand will increase because everybody wants to make EV. There's not finite supply. Once the supply gets less and demand become more, the price will shoot up. So battery prices will start also increasing. And these are the numbers when the demand will exceed the supply. Okay, so if you look at it, I think if there are any questions, I'll stop here. I've taken already my 40 minutes. And I'll stop here. Again, you can look at it. We can review this. And now I would again like to ask this question. How many of you are still excited about EV's future? Still excited. Very good. Strong. Yeah, I will take the question. How many of you are excited about IC engines and want to devote? Very good. So now I see more numbers. Very good. So at least I changed some IC engine followers to be realistic. Yes, please ask the question.
Sir, like in market, there is new concept of hydrogen fuel cells,
Yes.
which is based on EV cars.
This is based on?
Means electrical, it is based on.
Correct.
Right? Because hydrogen and oxygen, they produces electricity inside, and it emits water and warm air.
Absolutely.
So won't it be better than other cars?
Absolutely, it will be better. But the challenge is that at what cost? I'll give you an example. Fuel cell cars are being sold in US.
Yes.
A Honda City cost about $10,000, $12,000. A fuel cell vehicle of the same size cost about $250,000. Only 25 times more. And the entire dicky will be filled with fuel cells. Okay. So that means if you have to go somewhere with one suitcase, you have to keep it inside the passenger cabin, not in the dicky. So you are absolutely right. That's the future. But the problem is, can you really downsize it and bring it to the level where it can compete? Technology has potential, yes, but sir, from potential all the way to product, it's a long journey. Yes. Yes. So there are many concepts, but it has to be made practical. Until you make it practical, don't say that kill IC engines. That's the only thing. Thank you. Yes.
Sir, it was a very nice presentation. Thank you for that. I have a question, sir. Recently, India has automotive sector has upgraded to BS phase 2, and now they are saying that they have introduced this BS phase 2 probably because within 2 to 3 years they are
BS phase 2.
Phase 2, yes. BS 6 phase 2. Sorry.
BS 6
phase 2, yes. They are going to introduce flexi fuel.
Flex fuel.
Can you, sir, elaborate what exactly?
Yeah, so flex fuel really means that, now people are introducing all this. India has now E20. So right now there is no flex fuel. But flex fuel really means that if ethanol is available, the vehicle, you fill it with ethanol and it can run on ethanol, E100 or E85. If E85 is not available, you fill gasoline. The vehicle will sense it, and accordingly it will load those maps into its ECU and start operating it. Flex fuel really means that you can fuel the tank with couple of choices of fuels. I mean, all these are numbers, so I don't know about it, but if they are talking, so it must be the same.
Any question from student side? Okay. Can you come forward?
Sir, it was a fantastic presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I just want to know that is it possible to convert existing internal gasoline engines into the engine which can combust hydrogen directly into the fuel, into the combustion chamber?
Everything is possible, but question is how much modifications you will need.
This is right.
Hydrogen is a gaseous fuel, so obviously you have to change the injector. In our lab, we convert because that's the easiest thing. Rather than designing everything for research, you always do. But research is generally to prove the concept. Once it goes into production, you are not shying of designing. So then you design. So if you want to bring a hydrogen car into the market, you will probably go for a different optimized design, well-optimized design. For R&D, it's okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was nice talk. Sam, in continuation of his question, our student making some engine, they have to blended some hydrogen in a petrol, and they have to be see that the same power, the fuel consumption of petrol is little bit reduced. So, sir, we just in a very initial phase of this research. So, I just want to know, is it efficient or effective as compared to the present technology of engine or as well as the EV?
My suggestion will be that don't expose the students to hydrogen right now. Hydrogen is a very temperamental fuel. So start with natural gas. So first let them handle natural gas, CNG. So what you can do is you can introduce that in the port using a port fuel injection system or a carburetor, and then you can do gasoline injection also in the port fuel injector or diesel injection directly. So that way it's a simple way to start the research. Once they are comfortable handling the natural gas, then you can switch to hydrogen, because hydrogen has a lot of safety issues.
Yes, sir.
So once you have to put adequate sensors and safety network, and whoever is working, they have to be made aware of the dangers, because hydrogen is a very unforgiving gas. If there is even 1% hydrogen in this room and somebody switches the electric switch, the whole room will blow. So you have to be little careful in handling hydrogen.
Yes,
Methane,
sir.
on the other hand, is okay.
We are not direct connecting the hydrogen to engine, means there is in midwheel, there is a safety, all these things.
Yes.
Like this. And
but it's a good idea. I'm glad that MET is actually thinking about this research. It's a very pertinent research, and people should be encouraged to look at engines, because engine technology, at least in India, I can say that this will go on for at least 40-50 years. First of all, electric vehicles will be popular for two-wheelers. I agree, two-wheelers is the way to go. Maybe buses which run 200-300 kilometers a day, it's okay to have electric vehicle buses. Taxis which run 300 kilometers a day, it makes sense for them to be electric. But personal transport, if you're not doing 10,000 kilometers, 15,000 kilometers in a year, it just doesn't make sense.
Sir, myself Prem Shankar Yadav from JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. First of all, congratulations to you and your team for tractor engine operated through dimethyl ether. Sir, my question is, Indian government has a more inclination towards same question hydrogen, and along with other researchers also move towards hydrogen. Still, you have a strong belief in biodiesel and biofuel, means like ethanol and methanol. Do you think that biofuel will have a potential impact on energy sector?
See, when you say biofuel, it's a very complex definition of biofuels. Biodiesel is only a small part. So if you go full steam biodiesel, and government puts all the resources that are available, we will at max be able to displace 5% of the diesel with biodiesel. That's the potential. Let's be realistic. If somebody says I can run the entire country in biodiesel, he is not saying correct things. Then alcohol, for example, now we are doing E20. We may go to E30 also. So that way we will reduce some import. We will use the locally available resources. What we are not doing currently is methanol. We should do methanol. Methanol can be produced from high ash coal, which we have plenty. Methanol can be produced from municipal solid waste. It can be produced from parali. It can be produced from a lot of other things which are already a problem for us to dispose. Any carbon which is available in nature in any waste form can be converted to methanol very easily, and its cost of production is only 15 rupees per kilogram. So per megajoule energy is roughly about 40% the cost of petrol and diesel. So if we can think about it, and IIT Kanpur, we have developed not only engine, but we have also worked with a lot of OEMs to develop final products. So we have developed 4 or 5 products. We now have M15 operated carbureted bikes. We have M85 operated Bullet Thunderbird. We have a Maruti engine running on methanol. We have something running on DME tractor also we have developed. So we are now doing a lot of work on working with OEMs to develop technology for this. So biofuel, this methanol has a lot of potential, methanol DME. Hopefully government will realize it. They are already thinking about it, and let's see when they come. Already they have declared methanol as fuel. So it's declared by BIS. There are specifications have been released. So hopefully it will come. That will have bigger potential.
Hello, sir. I am Neelam Khandelwal from the JSS Engineering College. Sir, you are saying that the natural gas can be used. But sir, problem is that the maximum thermal power plant, combined cycle power plant, gas power plant are running on the part load. Part load conditions,
Right.
Not on the 100% capacity due to the dynamic pricing of the natural gas, naphtha. So what is the solution for that one? Because already the power plant facing this problem. The plants are not running on the 100% capacity.
Yeah, I think this is not a technical question. This is more of an economical question. I think the operator will operate the plant. Operator is there to make money. So whatever the pricing is, if the naphtha is cheaper, he will run on naphtha. If coal works out to be cheaper.
No, but they are saying the availability of the
natural gas.
Natural gas.
That is a big problem here right now, because we import a lot of natural gas also. So now what is required is that in India we should look for new
Yes, sir.
natural gas reserves. I think in Rajasthan they have, Krishna Godavari region we have, and there is a need to develop actually gas hydrates. So all the coastal area, we have very huge coastal area, and that has a lot of gas hydrates. So for the natural gas, I think we have to explore that. But again, there is hardly any gas hydrate research in India. There is some in Japan, but commercial exploitation is still not being done. Hopefully in next 10-15 years situation will change.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us on the topic of IC engines. Now I request Professor Dr. Basant Singh Sikawar, sir, to kindly present a token of appreciation to Professor Avinash Kumar Agrawal, sir. Can we have a big round of applause? Requesting all the mechanical engineering faculties to join us for the felicitation. Can we have a big round of applause, sir? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. This was such an enlightening session. Now, I'd like to kindly request all the dignitaries, faculties, and guests to move to the venue for lunch. Thank you so much.